2024, the year of horror, continues with Tillman Singer's Cuckoo, starring Hunter Schafer and Dan Stevens. And man, this movie probably has like one of the most batshit crazy, insane, wild third acts, I've seen this year when it comes to horror. It's a third act that I did not see coming. I did not expect where this movie goes at all. And, although this is not my favorite horror film of the year, I think there's enough here to keep the horror fans satisfied and having a good time. There's gore, there's scary images, jump scares, and just a wild, insane reveal. And ultimately, I just think this was a great time at the theaters. All right, guys, I'm going to do something that I typically don't do here on my channel, which is that I'm going to spoil everything about this movie because I find it kind of hard to talk about without spoiling it. So if you have not seen this movie, I suggest bookmarking this video, coming back later to hear my explanation and some thoughts and ideas about what the fuck happened in this movie. So without further ado, let's just jump into it. Okay, so Cuckoo is about 17-year-old Gretchen who moves to the Alps with her dad and her stepmom and her stepsister. At the resort that they're living at, we're introduced to Dan Stevens, who's clearly up to no good. She takes a job at the hotel at the resort, and one night she's attacked by a random woman wearing goggles, which is kind of awesome. And she starts to kind of see some weird occurrences. Some random women show up and start fucking puking everywhere. There's a cop who's trying to investigate, some missing people, maybe some murders, looking into the resort and what's going on, what's really going on. And then we get the reveal of what is going on, and yeah, did not see this coming. Did anyone see this coming? It takes a pretty big left turn. So what I gathered from this movie, what we learned in the third act, is that Dan Stevens, along with a group of scientists, have discovered a new species of human / bird thing, and it's basically described as like the cuckoo bird, which, for those you don't know, cuckoo birds lay their offspring in different birds' nests, and then those birds raise their offspring, so they actually don't take care of their own bird children. And so this thing does the same thing, where Dan Stevens and his group of scientists lure couples into their resort, and then they let the cuckoo human hybrid bird thing impregnate women, and then those women go off and carry on the bloodline of this rare species. I think they're trying to protect the species because they call themselves preservationists, so maybe they're worried that like if word gets out that this thing exists, it'll be killed. So they're trying to preserve and also keep the offspring out into the world. At least that's the way I took it. Yeah, I was not expecting that. I was not expecting that at all. What a wild way to end the movie. Like, it's pretty clever and interesting. It is very like sci-fi-y. I did not expect this movie to go in like kind of a sci-fi angle, but it's like horror sci-fi. I thought that was like really cool. And like, I don't know, this is one of those endings where it's like you're either on board with it or you're not. I can see a lot of people getting to the third act and being like, really, this is what we're doing? Like, what the fuck? I was kind of on board with it. I thought it was fun. I think a lot of it helps because Dan Stevens is so goddamn good. I mean, he gets to play a German scientist evil villain. Like, come on, and he nails it. His accent's not that good, but God, he's having fun. And yeah, I don't know, man. Like, there's still a lot of questions that are unanswered, but I think overall it gives you enough to be like, oh, that's a freaking crazy idea. And I love this species, like, I guess we'll call it a superpower. It screams and it projects this tone, and when you hear the sound, you almost get stuck in like a time loop. It's really cool. It's like there are many moments in the movie when the scream kind of echoes out, and whoever's listening to it relives the same like 5 seconds over and over and over again. So you see, Gretchen hanging out with her stepsister, and they keep reliving the same moment over and over again. Or there's another scene where Gretchen's with a love interest, which is completely wasted. But anyways, they're driving together and they're having a conversation, and then the sound comes in, and then, they keep reliving the same moment over and over again. I just think from like a visual perspective, that was really cool. And it's also like the first time it happens, you're like, what the fuck is going on? I thought that was like a really cool reveal and just so different and unexpected. Like, I was not expecting some like time loop scenes in this movie, but I was like, that's really cool. But then you come to find out that that's what the species used to impregnate women. At least that's the way I perceived it. It's like this species puts out this sound, and it captures women to where they're stuck in some like weird time loop and they pass out, and then the species can impregnate the women. It's really fucked up, but it's like, it's a cool visual and an interesting idea. And this movie has like one of the creepiest moments I've seen this year in horror. Not the scariest. I think Oddity holds the title for the scariest movie of the year. There was a really creepy moment where, you know, Gretchen's working late, and it's told, and Dan Stevens tells her like, hey man, you cannot stay out late at night. Like, you have to go home. I will come pick your ass up and I will drive you home. You cannot ride your bike at home. And there's one night where she does not take his advice, and she starts riding her bike home at night. She's listening to music on her headphones, and then she's just kind of riding along, do. And next thing you know, we cut to one of the resort houses, buildings, and you just see someone in a fucking hood just book it towards her, and you're like, what? And then she's riding her bike, and she looks down at her shadow, and she's like, as she's passing the streetlight, she can kind of see her shadow, and then it's darkness, see her shadow, then it's darkness, and then in one of those shadow moments, you just see her shadow kind of come in, and then a hand and another shadow come up from behind her and try to touch her, and then she turns around, there's like this fucking weird lady with a hood with big old goggles and red eyes, like reaching out to her. That was the standout moment from the film. I know it's in the trailer, but like, I don't know, man, that was like one of the creepiest moments of the movie. Unfortunately, the movie doesn't come close to the creepiness that scene brings. That's kind of the highlight of the movie, unfortunately, and it sucks they kind of ruined it in the trailer. But man, that scene is pretty damn effective. But yeah, great performances from Hunter Schafer and Dan Stevens. They kill it. Like I said, I already talked about Dan Stevens. He's having a lot of fun here. Hunter Schafer, I've seen Euphoria. That's where I know Hunter Schafer, and she's phenomenal in this movie. She's great. Actually, yeah, I was thinking like in the third act, I love just her just outfit and design, because at one point, like in the third act, I realized this woman has a fucking headband or a head wrap. She has puffy eyes and they're black. She has she's in a cast. She's covered in blood. She has like a jacket kind of slung over one. She's just kind of limping around. I'm like, this is kind of just from a visual perspective of a final girl. Like, it's pretty awesome. Like, just how haggard she looks by the end. It was a cool touch. I think my biggest critique with this movie, and it's kind of a big one, is that I don't know, the setting of this movie never felt like a living, breathing place. And I understand they're like secluded, so you know, you're not going to have a bunch of guests running around. It's not going to be very populated. I totally understand that. But all that being said, it just didn't feel like a living, breathing resort. And also, like, the characters in this movie are very thin, very cut out. Like, characters just kind of show up and they're just like, hey, I'm a love interest. Hello, how you doing? I want a room now. Or like, hey, I'm a detective. I'm here to like look at things and stuff. And like the parents aren't that interesting. I don't know. It's just like all of the characters in this movie, they don't feel like real people, if that makes sense. Like, a lot of this movie, I'm just like, I don't believe this location. I don't believe the sets. I don't know. There's like an artifice with this movie that I didn't quite buy into it. But yeah, overall, I thought this was a very entertaining, very fun. The movie gets fucking wild in the third act, and it's a good time. You know, it's not one of my favorite horror films of the year, but it's a fun one, man. It really is. It has an unexpected third act, you know, wild craziness. Again, I think it may split some audiences. I think some people are going to hate this. I think some people are going to like it. I liked it. I thought it was a cool reveal. It was something I was not expecting, and I love movies that give me things that I don't expect. So yeah, I recommend this movie. If you get a chance and you're slightly interested in this movie, I would say go give it a shot. It's a lot of fun. Great performances, some really creepy moments, some good gore, and yeah, just an overall just interesting, fascinating, you know, concept. Like, it's really cool. So yeah, did you see Cuckoo? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Did you like the reveal? Did you not like the reveal? What frustrated you? Let me know in the comments. I would love to hear your thoughts, and until the next time, I will see you on the next one.